by film.
5,
Stand by music.
4,
Stand by announce.
3, 2, 1.
And fade up.
Sneaky little Robinsons.
Spider-Man, hero or menace?
Deer and Dugu.
Dobby the house elf.
Who holds sway over the 5 points?
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
This is my family.
There's a hole in this cake.
You concur?
I'm a bloody island. I'm bloody Ibiza.
How about new, you crazy Dutch bastard?
So welcome everyone to a brand new episode of 20 Years, 4 Beers. We are a podcast dedicated to rewatching movies from 2 decades ago, while simultaneously enjoying a minimum of 4 modern beers. My name is Steve, and this is my big brother,
Tim.
And we are coming to you from just outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota. All right, well, we have just watched and recorded our episode on About a Boy. Go find that one. And as usual, we sit together afterwards and discuss another film over another beer-ish. So we refer to these as our happy hour episodes.
Hey, you guys. Happy hour is from 4 to 6.
Because we have indeed had a few, and it is a happy hour. On this episode, we will be discussing a quirky little film, which I suppose could be said about almost any Alexander Payne movie, quite frankly, in 2002's About Schmidt.
Deer and Dugu. My name is Warren R. Schmidt, and I am your new foster father. I live in Omaha, Nebraska. My older brother Harry lives in Roanoke, Virginia with his wife Estelle. Harry lost a leg 2 years ago to diabetes. I am 66 years old and recently retired as Assistant Vice President and Actuary at Woodman of the World Insurance Company. And God damn it if they didn't replace me with some kid who, all right, so maybe he's got a little theory under his belt and can plug a few numbers into a computer. But I could tell right off that he doesn't know a damn thing about genuine real-world risk assessment, or managing a department for that matter, little cocky bastard. Anyway.
About Schmidt follows Warren Schmidt, a recently retired, newly widowed man who reluctantly sets out on a solo road trip from Omaha to Denver for his daughter's wedding. Warren travels to his birthplace, his college town, and finally makes it to Denver for the wedding. Nothing in Warren's life is going as he wants, and certainly not as he would have planned, but maybe that is what is best for him in the end. The film is directed by Alexander Payne, written by Payne and Jim Taylor, and stars Jack Nicholson as Warren, Kathy Bates, Hope Davis, and Dermot Mulroney. Or Mulroney.
Is it Dermot?
Dermot Mulroney?
Dermot Mulroney?
Whatever. I'm American. He's British. I don't give a damn. So.
Is he really British?
I don't even know. If you have a name like Dermot Mulroney, you should be British. Otherwise, your parents were rich.
He ain't from around here.
Yeah. You're either from Connecticut and your parents are rich, or you're from Britain. That's it. Yeah. I don't even want to look up where he's from because I'm going to be bothered otherwise. Okay. But he has a magnificent mustache in this movie, and that's just fine by me.
He does.
My initial memory of this, like, I do remember seeing this at the time and feeling very disappointed in the film.
Yes.
I did not love it, and honestly was not looking forward to rewatching it. And yet, who picked it? Me. I, however, loved Election.
Yeah.
That came out in 1999. I remember having really high hopes for this. You got Jack Nicholson, you got this up and coming director and stuff. Being pretty disappointed. In the end, though, I remember liking Jack's performance because you kind of have to. Like, Jack Nicholson is obviously like Meryl Streep, where you kind of are required to like the performance because. Yep. And objectively, it is actually really good.
He's really good.
But I was unimpressed overall. So we'll discuss later if this changed for me or not. But
I was so happy when we were thinking about what to watch for this. And it was one of those things of like...
Yeah, it was like Ice Age or this. Very different movies.
very different. But I had seen it when it came out because of the Academy Award nominations and kind of the accolades putting or out about it. And so I was like, yeah, let's rewatch it because I truly have not seen it since it came out. Because I had a similar reaction of like, this is what people are freaking losing their minds over.
Yeah, yep.
This is, I remember only the high points of he goes on a road trip after retirement, has a pen pal relationship with some kid from Africa, and that's it. Yeah. Which is not a good sign that a movie has a lasting impact. Of 20 years later, it's like, what? Like, I remember watching the preview with my wife before watching it this week. I said, "You want to watch?" She goes, "I'll pass."
Yeah, it's not a rally. Yep.
Yeah, and but it was one of those things of yes, Alexander Payne has definitely leaned hard into that kind of genre of this, authentic type of life, quirky experience thing. But anyway, I remember seeing it and having no memory besides that, so I'm happy we're going to be able to talk about it.
Moving on. So our first segment then, as usual, is Drinking Buddies.
Come on, not my fucking beer.
Where we present the 4 beers that we have had, 2 for each of us, since we watched these separately, and give our expert drinking ratings. We are also drinking another beer for this recording. Tim, do you want to go first on your 2? Or
I had no theme because looking through it, I was like, I don't have any beers from Africa or Nebraska. So I was like,
Christ, you didn't find a beer from Africa. I mean, if we could just for fun, but I'd be like,
okay. How freaking baller would it be if I had like drop into
like South African.
Look what I got.
Yeah. South African.
Alas. No, I had just some hardcore Minnesota options that were in my fridge. Castle Danger out of Two Harbors, Minnesota. They're 17.7 Pale Ale, one of the flagship options. 3.75. Just a nice, solid pale ale. It's gonna exactly meet your needs for a pale ale. It's good. I like it. Then Ursa Minor from Duluth, which I'm so happy to say they distribute now in the cities.
Yeah, I did. I happened to see
some 4-packs of Tall Boys. It was one of those things where rarely at the liquor store I go, oh, so excited, like, oh my God, I don't have to like wait for my annual trip to the Boundary Waters to bring that back. So very excited.
You're excited? Feel these nipples.
Their Barista Coffee Milk Stout, 4.25. It's a really solid, great balance for a coffee stout. I think quite often you have either an uneven balance between the stout and the coffee. It's too subdued or way overpowering. It's really good. Really, really recommend. So those are my 2 options.
So I did not have a theme beer, but I was like, if we're going to do, in 1 month, we're going to do 2 About films.
Sure.
With About a Boy and About Schmidt. I'm just going to do 2 of the same style beer. So I have, I did go with 2 New England Hazy IPAs.
I like the loose interpretation of the theme.
There you go.
It feels good. It feels good, right?
No. I felt dirty.
Don't besmirch.
Falling Knife Brewing Company out of Minneapolis, Minnesota had the Eastbound Stranger, which sounds dirty if you really think about it. But anyway, the collab with Remedy Brewing Company out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I've been there, but that's okay. They had a 7% ABV New England Hazy IPA with Strata, Amarillo, and Cryo Citra hops. I had a 4 out of 5, very solid hazy. It was, no offense to Remedy, and yet they would take offense to this. I have never had anything good out of Remedy, and so like this was the best Remedy beer I had, and yet an average Falling Knife beer.
Sure.
So the best way I could do it. Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was solid. Like I had it, and I was like, okay. And I think I have this with a lot of hazies. I start out with a lower rating, and then they get better.
Yeah.
Because they're either too bitter or they're, it's just, so that's what happened with this one. And then I had out of Boston, Massachusetts, Clown Shoes Brewing Company, which I don't think we've had a Clown Shoes.
We have not.
I love the name of this beer. Actually, both of them are good, but Rainbows Are Real was the Hazy IPA, the New England Hazy, with Azaka, Citra, and Mosaic hops, 6.75 ABV. I had a 4 out of 5 as well. This one was more probably flavorful and a little sweeter than the other one, but still didn't quite have the like sort of next level. But if you've had a Clown Shoes beer, typically they're pretty good, but not great.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what this was. They found their niche, you know. So, and then we have a beer that we are having for our recording. What do we got?
Out of Big Lake, Minnesota. They're Lupulin Brewing. They're Lateralis. Cool. Barrel-aged Imperial Stout with vanilla and cacao. Or cocoa. That'd be a great wordle word, by the way. Cacao.
Ooh. What's your streak at?
I think it's like 27 or something.
Ooh, look at you.
I know. I've only missed one out of the...
I missed one too, but my streak is longer than yours, but that's fine.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm just saying. It's longer than yours. It's fine. Deal with it, Tim. Deal with it.
I shall walk off in shame.
Yep, that's fine.
They're barrel-aged stout. It's 4.25 for me.
Yep.
It's really well done. The barrel aging is really tasty. I don't know that I could necessarily say that I could like articulate the vanilla or the chocolate, but all of it together makes it.
What's in it? It's vanilla
and cacao.
Chocolate, right?
Yeah,
that's just those two.
Yeah, just the two.
What's the barrel? Do you know?
It does not articulate what
That's
it is.
BS. I hate that shit.
I know, like it's like a whiskey thing. Like, yeah,
right. What kind of barrel are we talking
Yes.
about? I do feel like it's probably more whiskey than say like a rum barrel aged or
yes.
something.
Oh, I think it's definitely a whiskey, but it's good. It's really solid. It's smooth, and yeah, they don't do really bad beers.
They're pretty solid. So I have a 4.25 on this as well. There's nothing. It's really good. We talked about this on the last episode too. Like, I can't finish the whole one.
No,
this is almost too much. For,
absolutely, yeah. These
like,
tall boys, God, what are they doing?
I know. I would happily pay $2 less or whatever for a 4-pack of 12ers.
Yes,
I don't need the 16 ounce. Now, granted, they have to source out the cans and things like that, so there is some global supply chain.
I get the
issues going
supply
on,
chain, yeah.
But beyond that,
but it's like that beer from the one we had for Super Troopers, where it was like with Horace or whatever, was like hazelnut and that thick one that I gave you a can of.
Oh yeah,
12 ounces.
You had that from. I can't remember where that was from. Yep,
for
more than enough.
Humble Forager.
Yep,
yeah, 12 ounces. That's all I need. I don't need this freaking tomboy stuff. Anyway,
yeah. If you're listening, nobody from the beer industry, fix it.
Yeah, get your stuff together.
Although it is still good.
It's really.
But I
good.
don't necessarily. I agree with you though. Like I don't necessarily pull out each individual flavor.
No,
but as a whole, it's still pretty good.
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting.
It's good.
So our next segment then is the social network.
If you guys were the inventors of Facebook, you'd have invented Facebook.
Where we take a look back at the critical and fan reception from 20 years ago. I have a review from Hollywood Reporter. This reviewer's name is Michael Reckstaffen.
Wow.
I did not see the star rating, but based on what I read, it was probably like 4.5 out of 5, or a 4-star rating or whatever. So he said, Schmidt is filled with quiet little surprises and Teflon smooth mood shifts. It's not unusual for a scene to start off side-splittingly funny and turn quite unexpectedly profoundly affecting, then back again without ever feeling manufactured or inappropriate. But as good as things get, there simply wouldn't be a Schmidt without Jack. He's never been better or funnier or more touching, exhibiting the kind of command of nuance that could only have arrived at this point in a career full of great performances.
It was interesting. Yeah, so the IMDb rating is 7.2 out of 10.
Higher than About a Boy.
Exactly. It's
one
like
is more crowd pleasing than the other.
Right?
But here we are.
I don't get it. Destin Thompson of Washington Post wrote, Nicholson produces the most understated and one of the most powerful performances of his career. Manola Dargis, you like that, of the LA Times.
I like it, but he's no Michael Reckschnecker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Might be a sheep. That's okay.
I don't care. Nowadays.
Pronouns.
Exactly.
Perfectly pitched between comedy and tragedy, hope and despair, About Schmidt instead comes far closer than many movies to expressing the way many of us live, someplace between consuming self-absorption and insistently demanding otherness.
Huh.
Charles Taylor of Salon.com.
Wow.
Did not like it. Said, despite Nicholson's competence, this comedy about a Midwestern retiree never goes beyond mocking its characters and flattering its audience. I kind of like that one.
I like it only because the mocking is definitely comes off more than. Yep.
Then Ebert, Big Man Raj, gave it 3.5 out of 4 stars. Said, About Schmidt is essentially a portrait of a man without qualities, baffled by the emotions and needs of others. That Jack Nicholson makes the man so watchable is a tribute not only to his craft, but to his legend.
Mm-hmm.
Jack is so unlike Schmidt that his performance generates a certain awe. Another actor might have made the character too tragic or passive or empty, but Nicholson somehow finds within Schmidt a slowing, developing hunger, a desire to start living now that the time is almost gone. And Academy Awards that year was 2 nominations, one for supporting actress for Kathy Bates, who ultimately lost to Catherine Zeta-Jones for Chicago, and actor for Jack Nicholson, who lost to Adrian Brody for The Pianist.
So our next segment then is our reactions segment that we call High Fidelity.
Top 5 side ones, track ones.
Where we discuss our top takeaways of any kind from re-watching the film. I agree with the review of saying about the mocking part. Like it's that's been my problem with Alexander Payne a lot, is that not necessarily the main characters, but the sub characters are very cliched Midwesterners. Now, it's hard because there are many of them that are exactly like what we see in his movies.
Yeah.
There just are. It's the same with the Coen brothers and Fargo.
Yeah.
I hate to break it to you. You go up into the Brainerd Lakes area of Minnesota, you're going to hear that accent.
Have you been to the State Fair?
Yes.
Yeah.
They just, so I get it on one level, but on another, it's almost like, it's like an easy joke.
It's low hanging fruit.
Yeah. But I did like that review of saying he is not like this character. So
no,
Jack Nicholson, I don't know the man, never going to meet him. He is nowhere near like Warren Schmidt.
Yeah.
Which does make his performance very impressive. So my first reaction coming out of it was, I liked this movie better than the first time around.
Sure.
For sure. But it was mostly because I have a better appreciation of Nicholson's performance than I do necessarily the film as a whole.
Yes.
Nailed it.
The chime of the clock. It's so fantastic, that grandfather clock in the background.
Yeah. It's like...
We talked about it earlier. We talked about it, like, I can't wait to be recording, and it's going to totally chime in.
And it wasn't on there earlier, by the way. That's fine. We were recording at 9 o'clock.
10 o'clock?
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock. That's fine. That's fine.
Are we at 5? 6?
Yeah, here we go.
Oh, we're almost there. Yeah. What a perfect song or sound for a movie about a retiree in What Comes Next. There we go.
So we have, but I will say, my first reaction ultimately was, I have a greater appreciation of this film now than I did then.
Sure.
That does not suggest that I think it's a great movie.
No.
But I do have a better appreciation of what maybe Payne was trying to do with this. And that is because Nicholson's performance is, I think, legitimately very good.
Yeah.
Because it is nowhere near. Tell me another Nicholson performance that's like this.
No.
There's no other character like this.
No.
So, I mean, the fact that they got him, in his weird, crazy anger management phase that he did at the time or whatever, you go, oh, this is actually pretty good. So I did like it better, but I respect that reviewer of saying, like, kind of a mocking thing outside of that. So
I'm actually really happy we watched this. Yeah. And what I've loved about our time together with this podcast is I would never, ever be inclined to watch this.
No,
again.
I probably never would. I mean, short of somebody not watching it and wanting to go through the Alexander Payne filmography,
sure.
I'd be like, because don't get me wrong, I'll watch The Descendants any day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Yes.
But no, I have no interest in watching this again.
It was like, really? Okay, sure. But it was great to see it again. But I ultimately am really uncertain of what to make of this film. Mm-hmm. Like, I really want to like it, honestly. Mm-hmm. And seeing it, thinking about how I was completely underwhelmed or just it existed in the world before, and watching again, thinking through, I just can't really like it.
Right.
As a viewer, I appreciate what it's trying to do with the story of this man who has put his life into being this employee, and that's what's defined his existence.
Mm-hmm.
And he and his wife are just kind of, together. And what comes next after he retires, and the challenge that might obviously exist at that point. And then his wife dies. And then what that kind of odyssey could be. It just really felt flat all around for me. And I do feel like it kind of was exactly like the mocking of him coming into these different experiences and not having it feel like him expanding his world,
right,
and realizing we could all have different experiences. It was a judgmental portrait. And I'll get back to Jack and how great he is. But it just felt very judgy to me. And I don't know what to make of this movie, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I had asked myself as I was sort of writing down as I went, like, what is the point of this movie? ? Like, is it live life to the fullest? Is it appreciate what you have? Don't take what you have for granted? Like, there's all kinds of random things
myself,
where I was like,
what is the point?
Right. But I'd be curious to ask them of like, what was your goal out of this?
Yes.
But that being said, what has had a lasting memory, and I was shocked at how more poignant I found it to be, was the Dear Undugu letters.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to what we just talked about with About a Boy in the narration, was it was the only outlet.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Warren, who had all these feelings and no place to put them, had an outlet, right or wrong, and it's wrong, of what he shares with Undugu, but he has it, and he writes him these letters, and that's our voiceover. And what's funny about them, purposely funny, is he writes to Undugu not his real feelings.
Yes.
Like about his... He does a little bit. In the first letter, he does a little bit. But at one point, he gets rejected by his daughter, and he's like, to come out there early. And he's like, I'm using this as an opportunity to go on this. Like, it's this great opportunity, and he doesn't want to do it anyway. And he's trying to paint this picture. So I had a new appreciation on the Undugu side. Because I used to think it was this sort of play and mocking of people who are legitimately trying to help people around the world and things like that.
Yeah.
But now the Undugu part, first of all, that first letter is so cringeworthy, and yet it's just perfect because it's like this final outlet of him being able to express internally what he's been feeling for years, clearly. Overall, the letters are a great way to show his internal feelings.
Yeah.
And in the end, there's a huge payoff. Ultimately, what works in this movie, if you think about it overall, is he sends these letters super awkwardly to a 6-year-old kid who can't even read anyway.
Totally.
And all he gets in return is a picture.
Yes.
And that's, as it turns out, that's all he needed.
Yeah.
He just needed that painting, and that's it. And I love that that's the end of the movie. It's like he didn't need reconciliation with his daughter. He didn't need any of that stuff. All he needed was to feel that his place in the world was cemented. Like, he has now done something good in that way. And it's a little heavy-handed for sure, but I have a much better appreciation of the Undugu letters.
Yeah, my reaction was, it was odd when we planned these out for this year.
Yeah.
There's obviously the resonance when it comes to About a Boy and About
it
Schmidt.
Just happened to be
serendipity.
It just happened to be about when they were released in the year. Yes.
But it was funny watching two movies for this month that use narration and voiceover.
Yeah, a lot.
As a predominant means of explaining details. And again, albeit this one was via him writing the letters to Undugu. But with their kind of huge unexpected life changes. But I did appreciate that from a viewing standpoint, that it worked for him to use this as a means by which he's never experienced before, having that catharsis.
Yeah.
And of course, totally inappropriate to be lamenting his wife of 50 years or whatever, and like all these things to a 6-year-old child from Africa. It's like, what the hell, man? Like, read the room, if you will. But it was a great means by which we could get inside his very, protective facade.
Correct. And I do appreciate that a lot. It's
yes.
like it was a great way to crack down. Like, he had set up this world around him.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Very controlled.
Yep.
And this was his way. And then as he moved forward in his journey and realizing what is the point, we joke about like the movie, but what is the point of our existence, and what can that be for the impact we have and like kind of the legacy, if you will. And I was not in any way moved. I'll be very clear. Not at all moved, but I valued the ending of it when he got back the letter from Ndugu talking about thank you for the letters. And like, he could have an impact on this distant child on the other side of the world,
right?
That he tried to have with his own life and it wasn't working. That the payoff, while not being impactful, was still worth it.
From an emotional standpoint,
if that makes sense.
It's not impactful at all.
No. I was like, okay, fine with that.
There's nothing about it. Yep.
But I could see in some ways what they were going for.
Yeah.
With that.
What struck me about it even beyond that was this is a man who does not have a good relationship with his daughter.
Yep.
And what's most, and I think I will give them credit, I think purposefully it is like he's sitting there in his chair watching the commercial and you see his arm, like occasionally does he reach to the phone? Like he kind of is thinking about doing it, and then he does it and then he gets the letter in the mail. So his best relationship in this entire movie is with a
stranger,
6-year-old African boy.
Yes.
That he has no connection to, and now he's his foster father, as if like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so absurd.
Yes. But
in his world that he had sort of set up around himself, all of what he does makes some sense,
Yes.
So no, it is interesting to me that they went out of their way to he has a better relationship with Ndugu than he does with his daughter.
Yes.
Effectively saying that ship has sailed. So what can he do to just, and I mean, I like his speech at the wedding and he does a good job with that. And I don't know. I don't have too many more takes necessarily. One thing I do think Alexander Payne can find the awkward or creepy or uncomfortable in any situation, man.
Yes.
Pick a movie of his, in particular Election, but even this or his future movies. I had forgotten the scene, but I remembered the line. But I love the scene where he goes to his childhood home and it's a Tires Plus store.
Yes.
And he sits there and he just goes, he was like, funny enough, we used to have a tire swing out there.
Yes.
Just a subtle little line of like, he's at his childhood home and they had a tire swing and now he's standing at a Tires Plus store.
This is my bedroom.
Alexander Payne does a good job of finding that. Like, so as much as he tends to mock some people in some ways, he does a great job of finding the natural, uncomfortable conversations that happen in life that we don't even realize. But like, he's in the tires and he delivers on it. He goes and sees, he doesn't bail on the Tires Plus store.
Yes.
He goes home to see his childhood home. And what does he do? He doesn't leave realizing that it's been demolished.
Oh, it's not going to work.
He goes inside the store.
Yes.
Well played, man. I love that scene. I think Payne can do a really good job of finding that kind of uncomfortableness. Yeah. I like that part. I love that line though.
I will talk about what you talked about before was, I don't know that I necessarily think, because I didn't grow up with him being a cultural presence until probably, the movie Batman. in terms
Jack.
of Jack Nicholson.
You hadn't said his name. Yeah,
I know.
You're getting there.
I was getting there. Jack Nicholson in this is incredible.
Yeah. I used to think they gave it the nomination because he was Jack.
Yes.
Now I'm watching it and I'm like, no.
I definitely felt at the time feeling like, okay, he's again the Meryl Streep of the male actors. Like, fine, he does something, give him to him, or like a nomination. But what he usually is like with his roles, that I think obviously well deserved, became his legendary persona of larger than life and just chewing scenery and all these things. He is so understated in this.
Yeah.
That I am really impressed with Alexander Payne's ability to kind of harness that and completely strip that away.
Yeah.
He's absolutely against character for what he is.
Yeah.
And he's so drawn into just quiet and solitude. And you almost contrast that with Kathy Bates, who was a great actress. She's effortless.
She is effortless, but this does go into the point of, man, there were some really weak roles for women for a long time in Hollywood, because there's no earthly reason she should be up for an Oscar for this role.
No.
None.
And she's
there's
great.
no other. She's good in this role, but there's no other.
There's nothing.
There's nothing about
it. But I definitely felt like, I mean, we think back to last year with, Denzel winning for Training Day, and I still think he deservedly won.
Sure. Yep.
But I do remember thinking at the time, Jack won or was nominated for this. I'm glad he didn't win. But
history has remembered that year correctly.
He definitely deserved to be nominated because he was so understated in this that I didn't like the movie. I wasn't engaged in it, but I really valued what he was able to accomplish.
Right.
As a
But
performer.
neither of us are crapping on this movie though, right? Like, this is not a bad movie.
No.
And I think that's the difference, right? Like, it is not a bad movie. It is a movie that some people really enjoy. My reviewer loved it. It's not for us. That's fine. But I can appreciate. I watched it. It was fine. Thankfully I didn't buy it.
I did for $2, but
oh well, you're fine then.
It's digital.
No, it's fine. My only last point I will have. What bothered me the most. Everyone in the Midwest does not walk like a freaking idiot. I don't know if you've noticed this.
Yeah.
But Dermot does this too. Or, Dermot. Maybe he's French. Is he Dermot?
Dermot.
But yeah, Jack too. They're walking like they walk like normal people in the Midwest, man. Like, they're like clumping around the entire place, and he's walking like a moron, like very casually. And I'm like, well, not everyone. Nobody walks like that in the Midwest. Why are you making it look like they're these simpletons?
Yes.
That are they take like short steps, and they're barely heel toe. They're like walking on they're like planting their foot flat along the way.
Yeah.
The entire time I'm watching multiple people do this, and I'm like, what?
We're
not simpletons like
No.
this. I mean, we're simpletons in a lot of ways, but not like that. I know how to walk heel toe.
Yes.
Mother effer. Like, seriously.
I'm a 6'4" individual. I have a goddamn great
not
stride.
6'4".
I'm like 6 3/4.
Okay, yeah, all right. There you go.
I don't want
round up.
I don't want to talk about that.
Oh, that's fine. Ladies, I
Right.
round up too. That's fine.
So I agree. Like, it was like, and to that point, it's what struck me about watching again was, that type of feeling with the people in this area. So when they go to, or he goes to the campground and he interacts with the Wisconsin couple. So the wife and husband there.
Yeah.
And I will say, I love the attention to detail as far as he brings a 6-pack of beer and the wife of the couple says, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And I, to be clear, hate that freaking phrase beyond belief. Like, express gratitude, not you should not have done that. Yeah, no shit. It's called gratitude.
Yeah.
Like, it's just.
Well, I think maybe she was talking about the beer he brought? Because I'm pretty sure it was MGD, right?
It was probably that. Yeah, it's some kind of Miller product. But I think like that's such a Midwestern phrase. So I appreciate the attention to detail from like Alexander Payne saying, that's how people talk.
Yeah, he might mock people for sure, but he's not entirely wrong when it comes to... He does the Midwestern conversational style.
Yes.
He does a great job of.
Yes.
When Schmidt goes back to his office and his replacement is like, that's such a Midwestern style of like, well, all right, let's a 2-minute conversation and off you go. That's it. So
go.
He knows what he's doing.
But what really irritated me about that scene was that he goes to this campground and he's interacting and engaging with this couple.
Mm-hmm.
And the husband of that couple goes to get more beer.
Yes.
And I get that Schmidt is going through a lot of things in his journey, but no freaking way does this guy make a move on this married woman.
No, I agree.
It was so...
That's out of character.
Out of character. It's unnecessary drama, trying to show that he's somehow spinning out and just kind of spiraling. But it's one thing to have like his self-inflicted journey, kind of how he's... To impact that on some innocent, generous, kind woman, it just was totally stupid. I was so irritated watching, like, that would not happen. And she's like, oh, get out of here. Like, he would not do that. And that's why I feel like
what would have worked better is if it was like in his mind he thought it and it happened, you see it, but then it like clicks back and he sort of snaps back to reality and is just with the three of them and he's like, I gotta get out of here, and then he bails. That would have been more accurate than effectively almost sexually assaulting a woman. Like
he throws himself on this woman. It's like, what the hell? It was so...
I mean, he does view women as subservient, as we have known in this, but come on. Like, no.
But it just was like, there's no way he would have like this innocent woman. I liken it to the difference of the Jackass movies versus Tom Green back from the day. Tom Green liked to put other people in awkward situation and laugh at the thing. Jackass was like, we're doing it to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That to me was this of like,
we're going to be watching.
We're going to get there. I'm so excited to watch the movie again.
Yeah.
But I feel like that was such a
movie.
Exactly.
It's almost like a documentary.
I know. It is
it's
kind
a
of
movie, but right.
But anyway, I was so irritated watching. Like, this is so crap. It's so stupid.
Fast forwarded through that scene.
It's so dumb.
Yep. I knew it was coming, and I'm like, I'm just going to move past this because this is just dumb. I don't.
Yeah. His
unnecessarily
unraveling is not going to happen. So
he was already unraveling anyway. Like, it just didn't. It didn't matter.
It was unnecessary.
Yep.
But I have one more thing about.
Yep. Go ahead.
I had an odd realization about this movie. So when Jack or Schmidt gets to Denver,
sure,
and he now meets his daughter's intended family, that in some ways Schmidt's character could be kind of a loose take on the perspective of Ian Miller's dad in My Big Fat Greek Weddings.
Sure.
In terms of like, what is this family you're marrying into? So I love that we watching this movie again, where at the time never thought about it, but watching again, it's like, imagine Ian Miller's dad. Again, the movie's My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Loves, like, they get drunk in this big thing. But imagine if it was from Ian Miller's dad. Again, swap the roles of like genders, but like, what is this family? The dynamics are crazy, much more weird and sad in this one. But it was an odd feeling of him coming to be like, get out. I can see why.
Yeah.
In one movie, it works for him in the My Big Fat Greek Wedding to say like, they're endearing, they're one, Opa, great.
Right.
And then this, it's like, honey, I love you, but you cannot marry into this craziness. Like, it was a weird thing watching it be like, but I think that's somewhat of a disservice to the movie because I was so uninterested that I was thinking, what could this be like if it was a different story? So
that's interesting. I mean, I get what you're saying. It's just awkward, you know. And that's I did like his toast. I think you know, I thought it was a good way for him to again, without, because it would have been very forced if he would have been very eloquent and like trying to fix things with his daughter in that toast.
Yes.
So it was still an awkward toast.
Yeah.
But it was well done. It was like a thank you thing. He understood that my daughter doesn't need me anymore, or she really didn't outside of financially. So I'm not in this world, which is where the Indugu part comes in too. Like now I have somebody who actually does sort of rely on me.
Yep.
I don't know. It's awkward and it's fine.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, all right then. So we come now to our final segment, which is Quiz Show, where we search for trivia surrounding our subject film and try to stump the other.
The exciting quiz program, 21.
I have one.
I have 3.
Look at you. So you get to go first.
Ooh.
Because I only have one. I did not necessarily outwardly look for any, kind of weird trivias. So I'm kind of curious. So you may go first because you got 3.
The final third of the film takes place in Denver.
Yep.
Yet Kathy Bates and Jack Nicholson have another Colorado connection. Bates won an Oscar for her role as Annie Wilkes in Misery.
Sure.
While one of Nicholson's most famous roles was as Jack Torrance in The Shining.
Sure.
Stories which both center around horrific things happening after characters are snowed in the Colorado Rockies.
Sure.
What prolific American author
you
wrote
do
the
this
books
for your own self.
upon which Misery and The Shining were based?
You just needed to bring up Stephen King. You had to.
I had to.
I got two.
I can't have
major
it.
Stephen King actors here. I have to bring them up.
I can't. Like two of the most actually iconic Stephen King actors characters is Kathy Bates.
Yeah, won an Oscar for it.
Yeah,
sure.
So what's the answer of the author?
Stephen King.
There you go. But can you think about like how crazy it is that Kathy Bates, her Hollywood breakthrough was in Misery?
Oh yeah.
Like she won an Oscar, and after that, it's been amazing in that. But that's
it was down. Kathy Bates has been downhill from there. She peaked on Misery, and it's been actually Kathy Bates has been nothing but these like weird little supporting roles like this, or I think she was in Wag the Dog and
Titanic.
Yeah, yep, of course, naturally.
Yes. Anyway, I will admit, any chance I have to include.
Well,
Stephen King.
That and Radiohead. It's like if Stephen King and Radiohead are possible, you're like, I'm just gonna
happening.
Bring him up. Good Lord,
I love it.
All right, so my only one. All right, so Warren visits his hometown in, I think it was Nebraska, right? Like somewhere in Nebraska.
Yep.
And as he is traveling through, he drives past a movie theater. Okay.
Yep.
Did you happen to catch what movie was listed on the marquee?
I saw it was Sideways.
Yeah.
They want to drink Merlot. We're drinking Merlot.
No, if anybody orders Merlot, I'm leaving. I am not drinking any fucking Merlot.
Which was Payne's next movie.
Yeah, 2 years later. So I'm like, if this is purposeful, well freaking played,
it's like
man.
wink, wink.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, oh, come on now.
I saw them like, wait a second.
It must have been green lit at that point because it's 2 years away.
Yep.
That's I don't know. I was like,
I love it. All right. So Kathy Bates and Jack Nicholson aren't the only actors in About Schmidt to star in a film based upon a Stephen King book.
Oh, good.
1 year prior to this movie, Hope Davis starred alongside Anthony Hopkins as the mother to the main character in what coming-of-age film?
A very underrated Hearts of Atlantis.
Absolutely.
Very underrated.
So underrated.
Yes. Yep.
It is incredible.
Yeah. Very underrated.
It's so good.
Oh,
And
did we see that together?
I think I saw I'm upset that movie. Sorry. The book was incredible, but I don't know that we saw it
I don't think we
together,
did, but I know we talked about it.
Yes.
Very underrated.
Oh,
super good.
so good. But yes, check it out. Hearts and Atlantis. All right.
What do you got?
Midwestern town Omaha, Nebraska, where the film starts, has a surprising pedigree from where many famous actors originated. The director, Alexander Payne, himself was born there, as well as Henry Fonda, Fred Astaire, Nick Nolte, Gabrielle Union, and what Oscar-winning Godfather?
Brando's from there?
Marlon Brando.
Huh.
Right? Midwestern, all these huge stars.
Honestly, I've been there multiple times. That's the most impressive thing about Omaha I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Not to act like Alexander Payne and shit on Midwestern people, but I've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hate to break it to you, folks. But there you go.
There you go.
Huh. Any last thoughts on?
I'm so happy we watched it.
I'm glad we watched it. Quite frankly,
Yes.
it was a good reason to rewatch it without,
Yes.
like, in sort of a different vein. I have a better appreciation now than I did before.
I agree.
That does not necessarily make it a great movie,
No.
but boy, Nicholson is... I didn't need reminding that he is a great actor, but this is one of those that proves that he is a great actor.
Yes.
This is like De Niro in Silver Linings Playbook.
Yes.
Right? Like, oh yeah, you've won your Oscar and you've all this other stuff, but
no. Oh,
you can act.
You're really good.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes. I'm happy we watched it, and I can't recommend it per se, but it is something that
I agree.
was good to see.
I agree. I mean, if you're going to watch an Alexander Payne film, you're going to watch Descendants, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's his masterpiece. So find that. Well, that brings us to the end of our happy hour episode on About Schmidt. Stay tuned for our April films, Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and We Were Soldiers. For those of you who love hearing us crap on films, you'll probably want to catch our views on Episode 2. So head to our website for more info on the rest of the year's movies as well. We want to say thank you for taking the time to listen and for clicking that like or subscribe button on your devices. Find us on Twitter at years_beers or on Facebook. Or head to 20years4beers.com. This has been 20 Years 4 Beers. My name is Steve.
I'm Tim.
And thanks for listening.
Thanks.
What is the point of this movie? Question mark. I know how to walk heel toe.
Yes.
Mother effer. Like, seriously.
So excited. Like, oh my God.